I think we're live. I'm going to double check. Hi, everybody. It's Tracy, and we're going to be starting Tough Love Tuesday soon. I've got a special guest today with me, Cynthia, and what we're going to do is just give a few seconds to see if we can make sure people have found us. So I've been busy today. I don't know about you, but pretty swamped. And it's pouring down rain here in Seattle, where we've just got tons of rain. So I don't know what it's like for you, Cynthia, where you're at.
We're a little confused between snow and rain.
Yeah. Okay. I hear you. We're going to have snow in the mountains, I guess, this weekend. But luckily we won't have too much happening down in the lowlands. Okay, I do see the feed happening, so we're good to go. Anyone watching, if you want to chat with us, there is a link in the post that you're going to want to go ahead and click on, so that StreamYard will allow us to see your comments. So be sure to click on that link. But it's Tough Love Tuesday, and I think today's going to be filled with lots of love. And you might, Cynthia, you may have some tough love lessons for us as well. But I want to introduce Cynthia to everybody. We met about a month ago or so, I think it was, in a class we've taken together. And so Cynthia is basically, she's working on a really amazing project that we're going to talk about. She's working with 2 local suburbs, developing what's called phase 1 of the Community Healing Immersion Center. And this, I love it. It's called ChiC in short. So I thought that was really wonderful. But it's designed to provide resources and training to assist underserved and underprivileged youth to become strong transformational leaders. She is the producer of the Nick and Zander show, hosted by teens. And that's designed to foster a connection between local community leaders and youth leaders. And Cynthia has worked with youth since the early 90s. And last, she's been serving on the board of directors for the Hugh O'Brian Youth Leadership. And for the past 15 years, she has practiced massage and body work. And also, oh my goodness, I lost my space here. Body work and integrating coaching into each of these sessions, which I loved. You can contact Cynthia. I've got her information up in the notes, but also we're going to tell you about some really great things that she has in store for you later. But most of my viewers know I'm an integrative nutrition health coach. I'm a recovered yo-yo dieter, body loather, and a recovered pre-diabetic. And that life journey led me into what I do today. And I coach people in areas of, the food, mindset, physical activity, but there are also other areas of life that are so important that we need to look at. And so on this show, on these broadcasts, I want to have guests that also can help complement your whole entire life. That's around home environment, physical activity, health, joy, spirituality, relationships, finances, creativity, social life, career, education, and community. And that is why I brought Cynthia on here today. So Cynthia, you've got a lot going on. You have a big dream that I'm just in love with. And so I'm just going to turn over to you. You can give us an idea what's going on with this community health, center, what your vision is with that. And I'm just going to be all ears.
Thank you, Tracy. Well, first of all, the reason that Tracy and I connected so quickly was because she also has a vision for an immersion type center surrounded around healing. And right now her focus is on really launching this incredible book. So if you have not signed up for it or bought it yet, you have got to. I mean, it's so much more than a book, right, Tracy?
Yeah, thank you. Mm-hmm.
It's an incredible opportunity to really take control of those things which you felt like were out of control before. And I just want to make sure I'm giving you a plug for your own.
Thank you so much.
But, in thinking about talking about the Community Healing Immersion Center, it's hard to say when it began. It's been a very long incubation, and we're nearing the end of the term, right? We're getting ready for delivery here. But it's been well over 20 years ago that I felt this need for a different type of community, a little different than church, a little different than a community center, something that was more holistic.
Mm-hmm.
And as I went through the past 20 years of my life, I learned things that I felt like were holes in how we communicate with one another.
Mm-hmm.
And we tend to silo our lives, and we can put on a really good front, honestly, I've got my hair done and a little bit of makeup on, and most people would think by this time of night, this is just, I freshened up. But truth be told, I whipped this together after an entire day of sitting around in pajamas, really.
I think so many of us are doing that lately. Or we're all dressed up here, and then, I got the slippers on actually right now and some leggings, but up from the top, we're like.
And I think that's just how we present ourselves in life. We try to put our best foot forward. And then when there's a bit of a crack in the foundation and we need help, people are viewing us from the lens of the top half, right? The tip of the iceberg, which looks and presents well. And as we begin to unbury those deeper pieces of ourselves when we need help, a lot of people just they're not armed with the right tools and the resources. They don't know what to do. They don't know why you started breaking down and crying because you couldn't find the right color t-shirt. They're just like, pick a different one. And you're in a puddle in the corner and they're very confused, right? Like situations like that. I believe we can prepare one another for better by creating an environment that is truly set up as an immersion of healing. Mm-hmm. And so by that, what I mean is, if you picture a resort where you would just go to relax and kick back, that would be a place where you want to refresh. But let's say while you're out and you choose to go horseback riding, as you're horseback riding, the person who is guiding you is actually trained in helping you heal from past trauma as well. And so you can integrate your healing into your everyday life. And that's what the center is surrounded by. And my focus is teenagers, because the younger we learn this, the more equipped we are to go out into the world, right?
Oh my word, yes. And that's why I changed careers, because I figure when I started to really learn all this, it was stuff that if I had known it and I understood it when I was younger, I could have spared myself so much anxiety, so many yo-yo diets, so many, taking that whip with spikes, mental whip, and just beating myself up and trying to be perfect. And I love, that's why I'm saying focusing on the youth as they grow up, and so they can be stronger and resilient. Yeah. Yep.
And the truth is, we do have a lot of people who can fill that role or who are there, but we have a lot more that wish they could be. Mm-hmm. Right? And then we have those that are, but have a really strict boundaries, and they could risk their careers by really being that advocate, that mentor, and standing in the gap. When I was in high school, I had my freshman English teacher. She was absolutely fabulous, and I was broken. I came from some trauma in my past, and I was also have ADD, which comes with a whole boatload of emotional stuff too. So we've got, like this combination of trauma and ADHD, and than feeling and teenage hormones. And it was just
yeah.
and
It's,
she was able to see that.
mhm.
I didn't hide things well. So, I mean, that was granted, but she knew that I needed something additional. And she took me into her apartment, which was probably nowadays she'd be in jail, right?
Yeah.
She took me up there and sat me on her rocking chair, wrapped me up in an Afghan, and gave me a cup of tea and just let me cry. And
Mhm.
she held space for me by just creating that moment of being safe and being heard.
Mhm. Mhm.
And who knows what she helped me avoid in that moment, right?
Mhm. Well, I think too, you know, what you just said is how important, I'm gonna say this, our teachers are to our kids. Teachers have incredible, um, you know, like, I guess I wanna say for me, I had several teachers, that I will always remember that saw more in me than I could ever have seen in myself, and they really, to this day affected my life in such a profound, wonderful way. And I, you know, and here you've had a teacher. And so if there's any teachers listening, we love you, we respect you. Thank you for everything that you've done. And yeah, and so you're wanting to go back to the center, create a space, you know, that people, you know, people go into. And one of the things I had envisioned and too is like the whole aspects of life. You know, I mentioned that the home environment, spirituality, finances, career, but having it all available, you know, so that when people went there, you know, they could see that it's all connected. It's
Yeah.
all connected. Right now we're so compartmentalized, but it's all part of our life, you know. And I
Yeah.
think again, you and I got so excited talking, you know.
Yeah. I think, and we talked about that nutrition piece, right? Where
Mhm.
you have a kitchen prepared with all of the nutritional wholeness and goodness. But then you
Mhm.
also have a person back there that's going to teach you how to bring that home.
Mhm.
Able
Yeah.
to do those things in your own home.
Yeah.
And that really, to me, is the integrative and the immersion part is
Mhm.
it's all there and you're immersed in healing from the moment you walk in to the moment that you leave. And then you leave with a manual that says, here's more information.
Mhm.
And, you know, of course, starting within my own community, and that's why I'm starting with the suburbs in which I'm affiliated with. And then just blossoming from there and just learning how to really create a protocol that people can then adopt into their own communities so that
Mhm.
it is a lot of work to process it, but the systems are there. And I believe that once we've got, you know, that resource manual, that tool, then we can pass
Mhm.
it along
Yeah.
and create new environments. So, um, yeah, as the aspects of the center are so varied and multifaceted, I see the big picture,
Mhm.
trying to build up towards that where we're at today. The Nick and Zander show is like one piece of that because it gives them an environment where they get to create, which a creative outlet is very healing and it's very freeing. And then they have mentors and supports there that are able to, one, teach them a craft, which, you know, that's great, but
Mhm.
also be a voice for them and a listening ear at the same time.
Mhm.
Um, and so the place where I am at right now has the leader of that center. He is a great advocate. He isn't trained yet in like specific trauma care, but it's a start, right? Like you have to
Mhm.
start somewhere.
Gotta
And
start somewhere.
yeah. And so that's just what one aspect of it is as we build on that and as we bring in the different leaders and the different people to assist who have specialized training,
Mhm.
we can continue to grow that into
Wonderful. That's exciting. And so you said, yeah, you're in Minnesota,
correct.
but it is such a digital world, right? So, I mean, what are your thoughts in I know you're looking for experts probably that you want to talk to, things like that to help with this project. And digitally, what are your thoughts leading into this?
Yeah, that's such a great point, especially in the midst of COVID. It doesn't stop. And I was thinking about that too when you were discussing, the role of our teachers play in our students' lives, and they're just not able to do that like they were face to face. And I know that breaks their hearts as much as the kids are missing out. I think some of them don't even realize the influence until it's gone, right?
Yeah.
But digitally speaking, I have a friend working on a website portal that's much more expanded than my intro one. And the concept is that you will go to that portal, and there will be kind of two sides, one that says need help and the other that says want help and want to help. Sorry. And then within that will be resources and breakout rooms, opportunities for small group meets that can exist within your area, and just those tools to be available. I know that there's so many resources, but when you're in the midst of trauma or you're in the midst of trial, your brain doesn't slow down to go, well, let me see, how can I phrase these words just right in order to pick up, the right cues on Google. And so in the developing of the website, the idea is to make it very easily accessible and ad friendly, and then to kind of get that 6 degrees of separation. The best way I can explain it is this. We have a burn hospital here in Minnesota that is known to treat people with burns. So if you have a severe burn, the first thing people will say is go to Regions. Like, it doesn't matter where you're at in the city, you're going to go to Regions to attend to that burn. And what I envision is for people to say, you're dealing with trauma, you're feeling lost, you're feeling a need for community and support, check out ChiC, because they have what you need.
And ChiC is CHIC, which I love again. I want to, CHIC, ChiC.
Yeah. So that's really the concept that embodies. And so digitally speaking, yes, I'm looking for help, most certainly.
Awesome.
There are, the thing with volunteers is they have a full-time job, right?
Thank you.
So until the ball really gets rolling and you can, I can start hiring for specific roles, it really requires as many volunteers as possible, because if you can give me 1 hour a month, that's like gold, So it matters. Yeah.
Well, I love it. And you're just such a great example of, we can try and think of what do we want to do with our lives? What do we want our legacy to be? And I love that you're stepping forward into it. I have a construction background. That's where I was years ago and before I changed careers. And so I know what it takes to go through that process of building a building and doing what you want to do. And so there's a lot of work, a lot of love that's going to go into that. And then you think about what I do love is the state of the internet today is you can probably get started, probably sooner on the web, and then be able to transition it into a building later when it's ready. But I'm just so excited for this vision that you have. And Alicia says she can't wait to volunteer. That's awesome.
I love it.
Yeah.
Go to my website and throw your name in there and we'll talk.
Yeah.
Yes.
And what can we do in our communities to help each other and be supportive? And I think that this pandemic's really, really showing that more and more this to what we can do, how we can do it, how we as humans really do need to help each other and support each other. And this is a great great way to do that. So tell us, because the time goes way too fast. It's already 7:20, and I wanted to talk about some other things. So I wanted to talk about, you had, you have done for 15 years massage, body work, and integrating coaching into that. So I know you still have that on that you're doing as well. So fill me in a little bit on what you do and how that works, and a little bit more about that.
Well, okay. So as I'm closing up the hands-on part, I'm still doing some. And one of the clients that I'd seen, I've had her for years, and it was kind of that parting goodbye. Like it's very hard to say goodbye to your clients. And we had this little chat, and I used to work at a location before, and she ran into another client of mine. They both knew that they were massage clients. And my client that I was saying goodbye to and had a final massage had said, they were talking about the other therapist that was there. And they said, she's okay. She's good, I guess. She's just not, my nickname's Sam. She's just not Sam. And my friend had said, oh, now technically she's really good, but she doesn't bring the same thing to the table that Sam does. And I really believe that's where the coaching was. The healer inside of me, that caretaker, that holistic sense of bringing all of that together on the table was very rewarding. But with COVID, I've had to transition. And I am learning how to do coaching and still using some of the techniques and skills that I've learned through body work. And it's kind of fun getting people to be body aware without touching them. It's, because you're also deal with the body.
Yeah.
The awareness is, it happens in the mind, and we tend to just put it on somebody else. And we really do need to be aware of what our body is saying and talking about. And so that aspect of healing is huge in what I do. So a couple things that I like to do. I like to do an assessment, like a visionary strategy assessment, where we just kind of talk about, like, what is it you're really after? Because you might think you're after trying to figure out how not to have a stiff neck in the morning. But by the end of the discussion, we might discover that it's time for you to get out of your career and move into that life calling you've been waiting to do, right? But if at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, my neck really just hurts and everything else is fine, there are things that we can do that I can teach you to do at home on your own while you're waiting to get somebody's hands on you, right?
I think what's wonderful about what you said, and it was something that I was one that would exercise to punish my body. I would exercise because I wasn't good enough. And it didn't matter when I look at those photos, when I was, like that, I look at these pictures and I'm like, what was I thinking? Why was I so mean to my body? And so when I became more body aware and had gratitude for my body, and then also I pay kind of attention, how is it feeling? Where is the stress? And what's causing that? And so to have somebody that specifically works in that arena, honestly, your mind is so strong and it's so powerful. And so I can see definitely you have the ability to talk someone through that. And, because I'll get excited and my excitement will like see right in my core, it's just like, yeah, it's right there, but it's really tight. And all of a sudden I realize I'm not breathing. I'm excited, or if I'm working and concentrating really hard and I have to stop and do that. What's my body saying? And I love that you do that, and you can take somebody and and I can see it, just you and I talking. I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna sit a little different. Yeah.
And I think too, like, trauma response is very important to me. I mentioned before that I had, some traumatic events in my life, and your body keeps the score. There's a great book out called that, The Body Keeps the Score. It's an incredible book. To me, it's an intense book. It's very emotional, but he really talks about how we put unresolved issues within our body. And the thing is, it's our nervous system. There's an automatic response. And we start that fight or flight, and we go into fear, and all of our blood goes to keeping us alive. And so it's like our heart is pumping and our brain goes to limbic, and we don't make very rational decisions in that state. And what's great about learning some techniques in body awareness is you begin to unravel the layers and get to the core truth of how you can talk to your body to calm down and remind it it's safe.
And I love that. Again, our body is talking to us all the time. It's always sending messages. And it's true, the knee-jerk reactions to even phrases, some phrase that may not have anything to do with anything can bring up like a good example, a song that it was playing a lot during a specific period of emotion in your life. You'll go like 20 years into the future today. If I hear it from 1985, it will bring this memory of emotion, that's associated in my body, my mind. Remember that. And the other thing to say is why I would really recommend people contacting you is because stress is so toxic to our body. And it's really toxic to our mind. We're not meant to be in stress, fight or flight all the time. And so if you can, and that doesn't mean, that's the other thing, because you're stressed doesn't mean you're weak. It doesn't mean you're incapable. I used to think it meant that. And so I would stuff it and I'd hide it and I'd hide it. And I was like that iceberg. I was up here doing the big corporate job. I was pre-diabetic, overweight. I just basically the stress. And our bodies can't handle that. And they aren't meant to handle that. And again, any stigma that because you're under distress or stress, or you're having to go through help from trauma doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. Stuff happens to us.
Yeah. And also to say that if someone is triggered by something you say, that's not your fault. And I'll give you a great example of that. Before coming on, I was letting someone know who has helped me greatly with lighting and what to wear and that kind of thing. And I haven't followed all of her suggestions. And mostly because I just am me, whatever. And it's nothing to do with what she's offered, because she's phenomenal at what she does. But when I just let her know, I'm like, hey, I'm going live, and I've tried to take some of your advice. And she said, at least you're trying, which is very innocuous. I mean, that's, yes, at least you're trying, because I literally told her I wasn't doing everything she said. And so her response was, at least you're trying. That was a trigger phrase to me.
Oh.
And I didn't even know it. And I was like, why am I getting upset? And like, this is my friend. This is someone who advocates for me. This is someone who would never bring harm to me. And I felt all these walls go up, and I had to take a few deep breaths. And I had to go, what in that phrase bothered me? Read it. Thank God it was in writing, right? Because a lot of times what we hear isn't in writing. So the mind keeps going. But I had that. And I was just like, oh, well, at least you're trying must have some root in unworthiness, right? Like,
interesting.
Like, beauty, or at least you're trying,
Not good enough, but at least you're trying. So that voice in there somewhere.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, even probably 2 years ago, I would have heard that. That'd have been it. I'd have called you and said, I can't go on. I'm a failure. I'd have been in tears for 2 hours.
We have a win. We have a win tonight.
So I say that to say,
Yeah.
It's always work. We're always going to be working on this, and we're always going to be either in the position to be offended and be hurt or not receive something properly. And we need to learn to be in the present, accept things as they are, and trust that there are so many people that want to see you become the best person you were created to be. And that is why, to me, the younger you learn it, the more those tapes are going on in your head that say, wait, what's the real truth? What is the real truth? Because I want to live my real truth. I don't want to live that lie of not enough or not capable or being a victim or whatever. So
yeah. And there's times in life where we've got, well, COVID's a great example, just coming at us left, right. And when it first started, I felt pretty brave, and it affected my practice immensely. I don't see people in person training anymore or any of that. But I was like, it's okay. It's all right. And then, my husband's still in the housing industry. And so in the beginning, they shut things down a little bit here. And then all of a sudden I panicked because in 2008, we were both in construction. I lost my job. We went through a really challenging time. But all of a sudden I was like, whoa, it's not that way now. It's okay. Just stop, but it triggered me. It was really interesting. I had that real knee-jerk panic of no, not again, and so I know it's like to be there and have to come out of it and then catch that trigger point, and so every day is a lesson and ability to show up and learn, I guess, if we can embrace learning about ourselves, So, yeah. Oh my gosh, darn it. It's 7:32.
Time flies.
So again, I'm going to try and type this in the comments while you talk. How do they what's the best way to reach you again if they want to be part of the volunteering and all of that with ChiC? Where should they go?
So right now, while the big website is being built, you can go to CynthiaMcQuade.com, and it's spelled right there, CYNTHIA.
Oh, it is in there. Yes. Okay. Never mind.
It's CynthiaMcQuade.com.
Okay.
And on the contact us page, there is a form to contact me about. And I want to offer you a free session. If you're listening today or you're listening on the replay and you find this, just type in Tracy's Live, and you can get a free intake strategy session. And I'm here to help. I want to know what your needs are, and I want to know what your pain points are. And if I can be an advocate for you and help you through that, we can talk further about what that looks like. And if I hear some words that you're using that I know somebody else could be your best partner, I would mostly want you to get them for your healing, because this is all about, like, this next in our lives is all about getting over whatever stopped us. And it's not your fault. And it's not because you're not good enough or didn't try hard enough or any of that. It's simply because life is. And sometimes we just need a support partner that's different than the ones we currently have. So.
Oh, thank you so much, Cynthia. I'm just so happy we've met, and I enjoy being a kindred spirit with you. And yes, and thank you again. And what we should do is I think we should schedule you back in a few months, and you can let us know more about what's happening and how it's going. And
great.
Yeah.
I'm scheduled my goal is to have my inaugural protege group to come through in March of 2021. So we may not have a building, but we will have a group that will have a place to go through a training program and really get that immersion experience. So that's my goal.
Well, okay, you put it in the universe. It's out to the universe.
Yeah. Yay. Thank you so much for having me today. And
Yeah.
I'm going to stop talking or I'll start on another tangent. So
I know we could do that. And then, okay, so I put in I'm going to put in the comments, Tracy's live. That's the code when you go to Cynthia's website, if you want to have a free session with her. And I would really recommend it. Again, your life is more than just one compartment, one piece of the pie. And if you can look at everything and go ahead and see it all as a whole, things just change for the better. And so take her up on that. So I think I've got it in here. I'm going to hit enter. Okay, I've got it on there. Perfect. All right, my dear. Thank you again. All right. Talk soon. Bye-bye.